Hello everyone, and welcome to the first playthrough of Crusader Kings 3 on my channel. And as you have many times suggested, it's going to be of Game of Thrones mod. Now, fair warning in the beginning, I am not a Game of Thrones scholar, but I am a veteran of Crusader Kings 2 and a heavy role player, and I read the books, though admittedly some time ago, so I'm gonna do my best to build upon the knowledge that I retained. On the other hand, I am really looking forward to you correcting me, telling me about all that I missed, and discussing the books, because I expect that this is not going to be a one-time thing. There is a vast world here that we can explore together, and hopefully in the upcoming playthroughs I will be able to incorporate some of your suggestions. One more thing though, I didn't watch the shows, and I do not consider them canon, especially after the disastrous ending. So wherever there is a difference between the books and the shows, please make me understand that or mention it, and I will, like 99% of time, go with the books. Now, who are we going to play here today? Well, you already know because it's in the title of this video, but this choice was yours. It was based on the polls that I had, and you made it pretty clear who you want to see for the first playthrough. So, out of the two options in the first poll, which was about the starting date, 77% of you were for the start at Robert's Rebellion. So that's where we're gonna start. Of the 5 options in the second poll, which was about which side of the conflict we are going to start at, 48% of you, which is nearly half, were for the side of Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. And in the last poll, where I asked about who we are going to play on this side, 5 options and 64% of you were for the prince himself. Now, I don't have a problem with that, it's just that this is, and I'm gonna speak about this a bit more once we are in the game, but this is a choice that I do not consider hard at all. I actually think that out of all of these, this might be the easiest, or at least the medium difficulty option. Why do I say that? Again, we're gonna discuss this in the game. Now, let's start by reading the description. Robert's Rebellion. The year of the false spring has passed, and winter is coming, and along with it, a spark that will ignite the 7 kingdoms. Rhaegar Targaryen, heir to the Iron Throne, has kidnapped Liana Stark, daughter of the Warden of the North and betrothed to the Lord Paramount of the Stormlands. When her brother Brandon Stark rode south demanding redress for her abduction, the Mad King Aerys II Targaryen denied him a fair hearing, brutally executing him alongside his father. But when the Mad King called for the heads of the young lords Eddard Stark and Robert Baratheon, Lord Jon Arryn of the Vale instead raised his banners in rebellion. As fighting spreads across Westeros like wildfire, it is up to you to decide the fate of the kingdom, for when you play the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. Now here we have the choices, and Prince Rhaegar Targaryen is 23 years old. He's a Valyrian. He has the faith of the 7. Again, difficulty hard. I do not agree with that. I'll explain why. Heir to the Iron Throne, Rhaegar is respected by the nobility and beloved by the small folk. As his father's sanity has dwindled, Rhaegar finds himself caught in the web of suspicion. At the turn of Harrenhal, scandal shook the realm when Rhaegar crowned a daughter of the North his queen of love and beauty rather than his own wife. A year later, Rhaegar eloped with his beloved Liana, though some say he kidnapped her. As the brutal action of his father inflamed the situation beyond the point of diplomacy, can the Dragon Prince save his house from oblivion? Now, we are starting as a fairly small territory. Rhaegar himself is the lord of just Dragonstone and the surrounding area. So this is what we have under our control as our domain. Now the options that I have presented was Rhaegar himself, the High Lordship of Driftmark, represented by Lord Roosarys, the High Lordship of Sharppoint, represented by Lord Jonlon, or their vassals. Each one of them has, I think, 2. Yeah, you get one here and one here, right? Yep. But you chose the Rhaegar himself. So we're going to jump into the game here, and once we're there, I'm going to speak a bit more about Rhaegar and what the playthrough is going to be like, and what kind of roleplay we are going to be going for here. So see you in the game itself. Welcome to Dragonstone, the seat of Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. So who is Rhaegar, and why have you voted for him in such vast numbers? Well, I have to admit myself that Rhaegar is a very interesting character. I guess this is mostly because he barely appeared in the franchise himself, but he is one of the cornerstones on which the entire story was built. Rhaegar was born in the year 259 to his father King Aerys II, currently the Mad King, and his wife Queen Rhaella. He was their firstborn, meaning he is currently the heir to the Iron Throne. Now, Rhaegar was an interesting child. He learned to read very early. So early, in fact, that there was a joke on the court and between the common folk that his mother had to swallow a couple of books and a candle when she was pregnant. And his love for books was coupled with love for music. Rhaegar never really shown much interest in ruling the kingdom or in sword fighting until he became much older, when one of the books, again this is a conjecture, but one of the books probably convinced him that he should become a knight. So he did, and he became pretty good at it. He's definitely not the best knight in Westeros, nowhere near that, but his prowess is excellent, very decent, and he is more than a competent fighter. This actually was shown later on, but we'll get to it. Now, you can see that we have a wife here, Princess Elia of Dragonstone. Now, there was a practice between the Targaryens that they intermarried between themselves. So, in essence, they married their sisters, or if you were a woman, you married your brother. However, at this point, there were no suitable sisters for him. There were a couple of children, according to the game. I actually don't know much about these, but all of them died as infants or very young children, with the exception of Prince Viserys, who actually appears in the story and that you probably already all know. So what happened is that they had to search for a wife for him and ended up with the Princess of Dorne, Elia. Now, Elia is another interesting character. She was unfortunately a fairly sickly child and a very fragile woman, which is represented in the game by the trait feeble. However, despite that, she managed to give Rhaegar 2 children. She first born Rhaenys, and a year, or actually 2 years later, Prince Aegon. However, both of these both of these pregnancies took a heavy toll on her. The first one left her bedridden for half a year, and when she gave birth to Prince Aegon, she nearly died. So, shortly after the second birth, Rhaegar was informed that she will probably never have any more children, which again is represented in the game by the trait Baron. So her fertility is severely reduced. I'm not sure if she is completely incapable of having children. It says just fertility minus 50%. So if this was Crusader Kings 2, she probably could still get pregnant, even though it would be fairly rare. So this, and again, I'm not basing this on much, but I guess this left quite a strain on their relationship with Rhaegar. Now, why is this important? There was a tournament in Harrenhal a year or two before, in the year 280 or 281. I'm not entirely sure about the date, but Rhaegar, as I mentioned, was fairly proficient fighter, and in this tournament he managed to win and best all of his opponents. Now, as the victor, he had the possibility of professing his love, or probably not love, let's say adoration, for one of the women in the audience. And despite his wife being there, he didn't choose her, but instead he professed his wife. He professed his adoration or appreciation to Liana Stark, the sister of Lord Paramount Eddard of the North, another character that you know from the books. Now, Liana is 15 at this point and was betrothed to Robert, who became later the king of the Iron Throne. Now, this profession at the tournament actually caused quite a scandal already. But what happened about a year ago or this year, depending on the timeline that you will read, and again, I don't have this completely memorized, what happened is that Rhaegar actually kidnapped Lyanna and hid her in the Red Mountains in the Tower of Joy. Now, that is the fact. This actually happened, and you even saw it in the description. The question is, what actually happened between Rhaegar and Lyanna? And that is where we have to create our own story. Because in fact, this is one of the points where the game show or the TV show was fairly creative, and I really liked it. Now, if you ask Robert or look into the official history, or official meaning written by the victors, Rhaegar kidnapped Lyanna against her will and raped her in the tower where he hid her. Now, this, in my opinion, really doesn't go well with his character, because Rhaegar was loved by the people. He was fairly gentle and fairly educated, and I just cannot imagine him doing such a thing. When you look at his traits, he's diligent, he's solitary, and he's brave. He's ambitious, he's an astute intellectual, he's an aspiring blade master, he's a knight, he's intelligent, he's beautiful, he's a poet, and a skilled fighter. So none of these traits are actually negative. There's not, he's not wrath, he's not lustful, he's not a killer. And I think that the way they portrayed it in the show was actually kind of interesting, because they said that Lyanna fell in love with Rhaegar and they ran away together. And he actually divorced Elia and married Lyanna. Now, this is important because this led to the actual conflict we are in right now, the War of the Usurper. And Rhaegar himself died during this war. He faced Robert Baratheon at the Battle of the Trident, and he was killed in a one-on-one duel at what is today known as the Ruby Ford. So we will never really know until the last book of the series is written what actually happened. But I like the idea that he wasn't an awful rapist that actually kidnapped the woman and, abused her, but that they fell in love. This makes it less of a heinous story and more of an actual love story, which I can appreciate. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this and spending so much time at this is because I want to actually decide on how we are going to roleplay this. In my opinion, we could actually go with and again, I badmouthed the show in the beginning, but I really like this concept. So I'm not sure if the game will allow this, but I checked before I started recording if Lyanna is available as a character in the game. She is, but you actually cannot see her. Her where is it? It says here somewhere that yes, Liana Stark's whereabouts are unknown. So she is hidden and we don't know where she is. This leads me to believe that there's gonna be a story chain with her as we're gonna progress with the game. And I would like to roleplay Rhaegar as deeply in love with her. I think that she is as well 100% relation with us. No, only 20%. So that's actually not as good. Faith of the Seven is a straight holy scripture, personal diplomacy, brave virtue, brave, blood of the dragon. So she actually doesn't have a fairly high relationship with us. But what I would like to do here, and I guess this is more in line with the books, but if we actually manage to somehow interact with her down the line, I would like to seduce her and divorce our current wife, Princess Alia, and instead wed Liana. Now, I'm not sure if this is a possibility, if the game will allow this. I have no idea, but if it is a possibility, I'm gonna go down with this. Now, I'm a fairly, and again, this is gonna sound a bit self-absorbed, but I consider myself a virtuous man. I have a wife, I have a child with a second on the way, and I can in no way imagine I would abandon my family like this. And I always had a lot of contempt for cheaters, and I never cheated myself in my life. But it is what it is in the story, and I still think that playing a man that sacrifices everything he has for a woman he loves to get her and to be with her is a better story than a guy stealing someone else's wife, locking her in her cellar basically, and raping her. Wouldn't you agree? So let's go with this side of the story, which actually sounds like a much nicer thing to me than the other thing. So with that said, I'm gonna go with this. We're gonna roleplay this. As far as I'm concerned, I'm also going to roleplay Rhaegar hardcore based on his traits. The people love him, so he's not actually kind, but he's diligent, and he's not even just, but he's very intelligent and solitary. So we're gonna try to play him that way and not strike many friendships. But if he has any friendships, we're gonna adhere to those. Make sure that we reward the people that like us. We're not gonna be cruel. We're not gonna punish people too harsh. And we're gonna try to build on his love of music and books. Now I'm wondering if there's something else that I would like to mention. I'm completely ignoring the Jon Snow storyline here because I don't consider that canon at all. I'm not sure if the game is gonna present us with that, but we are. If it does, then we are going to raise Jon as our true-born son, but that again depends on the fact of whether or not we are going to survive the war. I'm kind of this is the next part that I want to talk about in regards to the war. We are starting not actually involved in this war. We have our liege involved in this war. There is a conflict already on the way. It is a fairly even one. Our father has about 74,000 men in arms. Robert, the attacker, has 63,000, so we're going to see how they are going to deal with this. But there is a thing that we need to address and that I need to speak about. In the decisions, we actually have the possibility, which is called the aftermath of Harrenhal. Now, Rhaegar understood very well that his father is mad and that his tyranny needs to end. So the aftermath of Harrenhal actually gives us the option to depose our father and jail him and instead take the crown of Iron Throne for ourselves. Now, this is the reason why I do not actually consider this as a hard playthrough, because we are a firstborn heir to the throne. So even if our father dies, we are going to inherit the entirety of the kingdom. Now, we can even depose him ourselves and take the kingdom for ourselves immediately, at which point we are going to probably have a fairly large advantage over the enemy, and if we beat their armies, we can end the war in a couple of years, at which point we will unify the kingdom again and rule. And that's that. We get everything done, and we are safe. Now, after that, whatever we do is a question that we can look into. We can see if we can continue with the story with Liana. I would like that. I would like to have a big family. And because there is an actual possibility to play after the war, I expect that the story of the long winter is going to unfold with the White Walkers and everything. So we'll see. Maybe there's going to be another uprising against us down the line. Who knows? Who knows? But we're going to try to save our family, save our children, which were brutally murdered after... And my God, it was a brutal murder. Actually, in the canon, our wife was raped and her children murdered in front of her. And then she was murdered as well after Rhaegar died and the rebellion was successful. So we're going to try to find a bit better future for ourselves here. Is that all that I wanted to mention as far as lore goes? I think so. There's not that much known about Rhaegar other than what I mentioned. There are some flashbacks in the show. There are some quotes. I really like that Daenerys looks back and honors her... What would you be? Brother, right? Yeah, brother. Because Viserys is our brother, so Daenerys would be our sister. I like that she actually spent some time learning about Rhaegar and talking with people about him. She named one of the dragons after him, but there isn't really all that much else known about it. I wonder, there was a lore here somewhere that you could open. Wait. There was a personal memoir here. And was there a lore thingy here? Nope. I don't think we have the lore here. Okay, well, with that said, I'm gonna end this part of the video, and we're gonna jump into the game and start the general setup. Look around our court, look around Dragonstone and on our vassals, and start playing the game. So, where do we even start in a game like Crusader Kings 3? That's always a question. I guess we can start by taking one more look at our character so that we get a bit in the mindset of the character that we are going to roleplay. So, Prince Rhaegar, we've already mentioned that he is diligent, solitary, brave, and ambitious. He's also an astute intellectual. He's an aspiring blade master. Okay, so he is on the trade path, which actually could inform our next steps because he would like to get better, according to this. He's a knight, he's intelligent, beautiful, poet, and skilled fighter. His skills leave very little to be desired, with the intrigue being lowest at 10, martial at 13, and the rest being very high. Stewardship is 18, diplomacy 21, and learning 26, which is amazing. Prowess 28, we've already mentioned, is excellent, but there are some that are much better. We have a lot of vassals and a couple of friends, which we are going to lay into. I am going to roleplay this as well, so we are not going to, unless we get someone really horrible, try to put basic courtiers into our council, but we're going to try to draft from the vassals and from friends so that we actually have a bit more of a complication for ourselves. So we have 7 vassals. Lord Lucerys is our spy master. Ardrian, the Red Crab, is our steward. John is Chancellor. Boris is Marshal. Aegon is Castellan. And we have 2. Master Aegon of Black Glass Port is just our vassal. He has very decent intrigue, but not much else. A bit of diplomacy. And Master Baelor of Gargoyle's Hook, who is all around not good. He's a vassal and knight. So let's look at the council first. It's usually a good idea. Maybe we can move them around a bit. So who do we have as the best marshal? We don't really have all that many. So you're fine. Chancellor Jonlon. So the Red Crab would be much better. So let's swap you. Jonlon is a terrible steward though. Do we have anyone better? Miles Mouton would be... He's our friend and a knight. So can we maybe put you somewhere else? Jonlon, would you be our admiral? Yeah, that's much better. So we freed up a steward position. Castellan is Lord Aegon. Lord Boris. Spymaster is Lord Lucerys. I think that's actually pretty good. Septon is Glendon. And okay, so let's fill the one position that we have free by our friend Miles Mouton. So you are going to be our steward here. And with that said, let's look at the the courtiers. Okay, so as far as court positions go, we need a captain of a household guard. That's something that we definitely need. And I think we could put Richard Lonemouth there, our friend. Your aptitude is average. Martial skill and prowess skill. Okay, well, brave, deceitful though. Rude, dutiful captain on the other hand. Organizer, knight, a bit of a drunkard, and a trained fighter. Okay, well, callous adventurer. Do we have anyone else? Aptitude terrible. Well, Corinne Quanis would be better, but I don't think that we want to have someone like that. I like that he's a dutiful captain, but I hate that he's rude and a drunkard. Even more than his deceitful trait. Well, I guess we're gonna assign him. He's a friend, so we're gonna overlook his failings. Keeper of the Cells. Do we have... We have 2 more friends, right? You're a friend and the hand of the king of King Aerys II. Ah, okay. You're a friend and part of the King's Guard. You're our steward. And you are the knight and a friend and a captain of the household guard. Okay, so we got that done. Now, we have a couple of options here. Decision available. The Aftermath of Harrenhal. We've actually already spoken about that. The reign of my father, King Aerys II, has become a nightmare for the lords and ladies of Westeros, and for all the people of the Seven Kingdoms. His unpredictable outbursts, fueled by paranoia and his obsession with fire, are a liability for the realm and my house. His tyranny has brought House Targaryen to the very edge of our demise, and it must be stopped. So we will send ravens to the important houses of the realm that remain loyal to the crown and ask them to commence for a war council. So let's do it. Let the ravens fly. We are on the way to depose our father. Oh, we don't have a master. So renowned throughout the known world as the center of Westeros learning, the Citadel of Old Town provides every keep in Westeros with a trained man of learning. Perhaps I should send for one. Yes, we need one. We can petition our liege. We are not gonna do that. And we can hold court. So we're gonna do that later. Now, we don't want to hold a grand tournament. We don't want to go on a grand tour. We can choose a patron aspect. Now, I was thinking about this before. We are the follower of the faith of the seven, worshipping the seven who are one, a single deity with 7 aspects or faces. The faith of the seven revolves around worship and duty, honoring the aspect of the seven in order to obtain salvation in the afterlife. Now there is a lot to choose from here. We have the father, the mother, the warrior, the smith, the maiden, the crone, and the stranger. Now the ones that I considered was the crone, because she guides with her wisdom, so she would be really close to our mental state. But I think because we are trying to do the plot to depose our father, we would either pray to the mother, she is loving and protective and called upon to keep loved ones safe, or the father, who reigns over judgment, often being called to by the faithful to dispense justice and wisdom. He is held in high regard by most and seen by some as the leader of the seven. So we're going to go with him because we hope to get his help in our decisions. Now, the lifestyle that we haven't chosen yet is another thing. While we are trying to go for a better swordsmanship, I think we're going to go with martial. Even though learning would be a better choice, we are going to go with martial, and we are going to go with the chivalry focus. Victory comes not through blood or gold, but honor. It increases our prowess by 3, an attraction option plus 10, advantage plus 5, and we get a bit of martial experience. Base is 25 and intelligence gives us plus 20. Now I was considering strategy focus, but that is hard to justify. And authority, we are maybe going to switch the moment we get to the Iron Throne, but for now we are gonna go with chivalry because we want to get better. Plus, it is what we have decided we're gonna do. Now we can station a men-at-arms regiment. So we have here 100 armored footmen, which is not much, but they are really good and not that expensive. So let's station them at our home in Dragonstone. We really don't have much of a choice in that. We have about 3,850 men in our levies, and we have 10 out of 11 knights. Now I think we might use this accolade. Your steward, knight, and friend. Your vassal and knight. Okay, we have the captain of the household guard here. Damage and toughness. If we wanted to... Scoundrel, well, that's not exactly valiant. Okay, so let's make you valiant and disciplinarian, because we want you to be as honored as possible, and we are gonna call you, what was it? The Stallion of Dragonstone. No. We'll call you the Dragon Claw of Dragonstone, and give you the accolade. Now the successor is going to be Mouse Mouton. I'm fine with that. That's another friend of ours. Okay, so we've dealt with most of these. Now we could declare wars. That's not something that I'm interested in. We can create an accolade. We've already looked at that. We can negotiate an alliance with our father, King Aerys II. Now, one thing that I didn't mention when I was going over the lore part of the game is that the relationships between Rhaegar and his father, despite the fact that we see here 99, were extremely strained. And by extremely, I mean they really didn't like each other anymore. Part of it came to the fact that King Aerys badmouthed the children of Rhaegar, and his reign of terror and the initiation of the Roberts, it was Baratheon, right? Robert, Baratheon. Okay, I always mispronounce that, so I apologize in advance for that. The initiation of the rebellion of Robert Baratheon was the last drop in the proverbial cup for Rhaegar, so we're not going to negotiate an alliance with our father. We already went through with the Maester hiring. Are anointed to inherit titles. You are anointed to inherit titles. That's fine. Now, as far as courtiers go, before we look at that, do we want someone else? Keeper of the Cells, Master at Arms, Court Grandeur, Court Smith, a Lady in Waiting. What is this one? A Lady in Waiting is an assistant and companion to the Lady of the Court, attending to her every need and fulfilling every whim. Effect on Liege. Lady of the Court, that's actually kinda... Would this be for our wife? Or... Lady in Waiting assistant and companion to the Lady of the Court. Oh, that's gonna be for our children. Okay, I got it now. I got it. Antiquarian, we don't want that. Caravan Master, Food Taster, Master of the Horse, Master of the Hunt. Can we put your Knight here? Your Knight. We don't really have any need for that for now. Cupbearer, Fool. Do we have anyone with good aptitude? Kusuma. Compassion, Diligent, Gregarious. Is it because of the Gregarious trait? Yeah. Or Bard, Sworn Shield. Has a chance to prevent assassination attempts. You can have a number of them. Personal Champion. Headsman. Yeah, there's a ton of these. Septa. Okay. Harbor Master. Domain tax is based on aptitude. That's actually pretty good. With Domain Master, we would like a Court Poet would be also nice. Damn, there's a lot of things that we can have here. So let's look into those a bit later. Now, Intrigue, we don't really have anything. I was hoping. Request Divorce. Okay, so what's the issue here? Resistance 50. High substance opinion of you. High substance opinions of Ella. You have Virtuous trait. And she has Virtuous trait. I don't think we might be able to do this. If we gained 62 extra, we still wouldn't be able to do it. Can we? Yeah, we could use a hook. So the only way how we can actually make this happen is either we murder our wife, which is definitely not something that I want to do. Accused of violating sumptuary law. Crime against fashion. Or we somehow figure out what we can do to get a little extra influence over you. We can send you a poem, a work about legacy, a work about strife. No, actually we can do that. He gains opinion of me. Okay, so let's write him a poem, because we are a poet. As this poem is positive, may accept it immediately if he has high enough opinion of you. So let's send him a work against strife. Okay, he gained a bit of opinion over me. And now let's start by holding the court. Yep, let's hear the petitioners. Commencement. Sitting on my throne, I gesture for my guards to open the doors of the hall. A stream of people file in, some lining up in front of my throne, while others move out of the way so they can simply observe the proceedings. After several moments, all movement in the chamber has ceased. All faces turned towards mine expectantly. In front of me, I count 3 petitioners lined up in an orderly row, waiting for me to call on them. So just the first in line to approach. A hero of the frontier. Over the last few days, I have heard tell of a mighty hero of the peasantry, who has won the hearts and minds of the common people through incredible deeds and matchless bravery. This hero, who goes by the name of Rhaegar, has been defending the small folk from the Stormland Raiders and has now traveled the way of Dragonstone to seek an audience with me. There is no doubt that Rhaegar is a great hero, however my court are adamant that I do not elevate a commoner beyond their station. Rhaegar or Baron? Marshal 27. You shall be rewarded with a place in my household. Every knight with his opinion. You shall be honored as a hero you are. We pay him. We gain a bit of prestige. And he gains the nickname the Brave. You are an impertinent peasant, nothing more. We can imprison him. No. He could join our court, but I don't think that's necessary. Let's honor him. You shall be honored as the hero you are. So we gain a bit of prestige and spend a bit of money. The next petition is evidently somewhat of a stranger in this court, as I do not recognize him, and the eyes of Marshal Boris have been on them since they first entered. My lord, I have come to declare that the people of the Scales are refusing to pay their taxes you have levied upon us. In time past, our land and people were granted rights and privileges which your recent exactions ignore. We request that you address our concerns fairly, or else. The Scales. Well, the rustle of the Scales. His leash is the red crab, and okay, so that's a county. Imprison the wretch marshal, and then crush the rabble. Okay, Lord Boris will get a martial challenge. The upstart peasants are defeated. 57%. We gain... No, not us. The marshal gains experience at crowd control. Trick the ringleaders into an ambush. I'm moving to Rhaegar R4. The control level in the Scales will change by plus 20. We gain 100 diplomacy and lifestyle experience. And we gain Masterful Negotiator for 15 years. Or they start revolting. Sounds to me like you might be misrepresenting some charters. The control is changed by plus 20. We gain stewardship, lifestyle experience, gain money, and we gain tax assessor for 20 years. Give them what they want, why do I care? No, that we are diligent, so that's a really bad idea. So I'm willing to hear you out. Let's hope 92% is enough. Yep, we managed to negotiate with them. The unconventional preacher. My liege, Lord Roosevelt voice is severe. I request that we launch an investigation about an infamous preacher in Dragonstone. You see, this preacher is, well, that she's a woman. This is not in accordance with our faith. Lord Aegon interjects Lucerys' speech by raising his hand and taking a step forward. My liege, while Lucerys is correct in his assessment, that is the preacher's only flaw. Everything she teaches is in accordance with our faith. We need more people to spread the word of the 7 who are one. Okay. Throw this false preacher into jail. No, we are gonna let her preach. And the court has concluded. As the last petitioner departs, various courtiers follow them out of the room, having business to attend elsewhere. Other remains talking among themselves about the recent proceedings. Soon the ceremonial formality of the proceedings has dropped away entirely, with the hum and bustle of normal courtly life taking its place. Okay, so let us... Wait, can we... Court Grandeur... do we have any artifacts that we could put here? Yes, so we have a Targaryen house banner, which is going to increase our prestige and renown, so let's put it there. So that is fine. anything else that we want to do? Decisions. We said that we don't want to petition the Liege. Scrape the barrel. Hillborn to fill random court positions. Develop capital. Invite knights. Take a vow of poverty. Refuse to become captain or commander. Disallow petitioner. Disallows vassal. Image. Escape to Summer Hall. I'm saving that one for when we know what's going on. Now, I don't know if you would like to hunt, really. Solitary, you might, but only with a certain amount of people, I guess. So, with that said, is there any changes we want to do with our council before we unpause? So, you are doing their best, okay. Let's go with domestic affairs for our chancellor. Steward is collecting taxes. Multicultural acceptance. I don't think those 5% are gonna do much, so let's put you instead on... wait, where are we? Here. On developing our domain. You are organizing an army, that's fine. You are... hostile scheme powers. Okay, let's disrupt schemes, that's the safest choice. You can either scatter fleets or protect trade. So let's protect trade with you, and you can have religious relations. Okay, so I guess we are fairly ready here. We don't want to petition the Liege. And the activity we mentioned we don't want. We're gonna ask our head. Oh, he's gonna give us 100 gold. Okay, so we're not gonna do that right now, but if the aftermath of Harrenhal is going to go well for us, we are going to ask for gold because we will need every single coin we can get. The new master of Dragonstone. The master I sent for from the Citadel has arrived in Dragonstone, an Ironborn by the name of Herodon. Let us hope he will be loyal and wise. Well, we're starting off on a bad note already, on a 5 opinion. 5 of the 7 is hostile, Holy Scriptures. Okay, he is cynical, patient, and compassionate. Insightful thinker, physician, master, and formidable fighter. Wow, he's actually really formidable. And he's the follower of the drowned god. Ironborn. Okay, good. Welcome to the court. And I want you to educate my children. But I think it's too early. Yep, we cannot assign children to the maester yet. But he is going to be taking care of our children. Actually, can I put you as a physician? I don't think we actually have that option. We have the maester, which is, I guess, a physician. Okay, so the Harrenhal aftermath. The ravens were sent, and now I stand before a room full of my father's vassals, contemplating the dire situation I am in. To depose a king, not just a king, but my father, it seems unimaginable. And yet, before me are those who might just be loyal enough to join my cause. It's now or never. Do I propose that we remove King Aerys II from the Iron Throne? The rule of King Aerys II must come to an end. You begin explaining your plans to those seated before you, knowing not which of these vassals will join your side, or betray you to the Mad King himself. Or we must focus on the war at hand. Nope. We must depose of our father. The time has come, the plot has been discussed, and now I stand before my councillors awaiting their reply. My eyes dart back and forth around the room. Many loyal vassals sit before me, who will join me to put an end to the reign of my father, the Mad King. My question lands like a scorpion's bolt, taking all the air from the room. But soon, those around me begin to speak up. Soon, a chorus of support rings out, and yet some among us remain silent. Okay, we get an abduct scheme against King Aerys II, and there is a ton of people backing our plot. So let's check it out. Okay, 12 months, we have an 85% success chance, and secrecy is at 85%. So we are maxed out on everything pretty much. Okay, my dear son, you have been a loyal and devoted subject, and I wish to reward you for your service. In recognition of this, I am hereby offering you the position of Master of Laws of the Iron Throne. Well, declining this would be a bit too obvious, so let's do that. And Varys has actually decided to join our scheme. Patient, gregarious, and ambitious, deceitful, elusive shadow, schemer, fashionable, genius, and unique. 35 intrigue. Well, here's our father on the Iron Throne. Do you have any artifacts? I don't see any actually, but can I see my father's court? No, that's not what I wanted. Courtiers. I'm not entirely sure if we can see that, but anyway, we've started the game. We know what we have to do. And now it's all up to the intrigue. So we are going to end this episode by actually escaping to... Can we? Invite claimants. Escape to Summerhall. You are in an army. Okay, so we actually can't. And where the hell are we? Oh, we are leading the second army of King's Landing. Well then, I guess we are not gonna escape to anywhere. So let's hope we are not gonna get murdered. The war is already going fairly poor for us, despite having a numerical advantage, but I guess that's how it goes. So, I'll see you in the next episode where we are going to see how this war and our scheme unfolds. Hello everyone, and